because it kind of implies they're not skill guys. But we're going to call them linemen. So, linemen, I'm going to have you come up here, and I'll just have you line up to the side here for me. Lincoln Benjesdorf, Andrew Hoffman, Dominic Nowak, Liam Garcia Mercado, Dylan Worth, Peyton Henry, Ripley Check, Angel Garcia Mercado, Kiefer Anderson, and Cam Grunnert. Let's give them a round. So I just mentioned how we don't call them skill players. I coached linemen for 17 years, so I have a soft spot for these workhorses because when you're not moving the ball and you're not throwing well, everybody's yelling at them, right? We need to block. They're the last guys to get credit when it goes well, and they're the first guys to get blamed when it doesn't. But we all know that that's where it begins, is on the line and in the trenches. And so I really appreciate these guys. So thank you guys a whole bunch this year. Appreciate it. All right, so let's get our skill guys up here. We got a whole ton of these guys. Wesley Fletcher, Dante Samuels, Mason Petrie, Vicente Martinez, Nico Torres, Tyson Geiger, Evan Hampton, Blake Newcomb, Jordan Bowe, JC Acosta, Parker Reckham, Keaton Sharp, Jordan Walton, Drake Denton, Alex Makopoulos, Grayson Edwards, and Alex Garcia Hernandez. And I checked that roster like 4 times. I didn't miss anybody, but So it's no exaggeration to call these guys skill guys, though. We had some skills this year. There were times that we moved the ball like crazy. We ripped off some big runs. Sometimes we just pounded it right down the middle for 5 or 6 yards. We had some deep throws down the field on offense. And on defense, we had some hitters and some serious ball hawks. We were just talking. I think we got a turnover in almost every game and multiple later. So it was fantastic for you guys, and I really appreciate all you guys did too. Let's give them a round of applause. So, just a little bit about the season, not a ton. I mentioned it already. We had some early games that were really close, and we competed hard, and we had a great game at Sun Prairie East. We were taking it to them. I think it was 20-7 when we finally had to get off the field. And so that was a great game, but if you were at the Oregon game, that was outstanding. It was so fun to watch. I mean, the guys' attitudes coming in, they were loose on the bus, they were having a good time. We had a turnover, maybe a fumble, an interception, but like you could just tell their attitudes, like it didn't matter. Big deal. No big deal. We're just going to turn around, we're going to stop them, we're going to get the ball back. You could see in their eyes, like there were some kids who turned into football players that night. It was really cool to see. So that was a ton of fun. So let's see here. What do we got? Well, we got some recognition awards for some of the players. You guys are still handing some stuff out. But we voted on some things, and a lot of these are really tight awards for kids. But we got a few to recognize kids with here tonight. So our most improved player. And I can honestly say, if you look down the line, we had so many kids who improve in so many different ways. Some got faster, some got their footwork better, their blocking was better, some of their hands were better. Some it was just understanding the game of football and maturing and knowing how to handle tough situations. So that was pretty cool to see. This one was really tight, but our most improved player award this year went to Nico Torres. And then we have an award we call we debated what order the words came in. It's been called several things. We call it the Coach's Black Hawk Spirit Award. And that's somebody that we recognize as somebody that put in a lot of work, had a good hustle, we saw a lot of improvement, and I heard his name several times from Coach Rogers and Coach Radloff this year. And that player this year for us was Liam Garcia Mercado. We also had an award for our lineman of the year, and this was a really great player this year. Our lineman of the year this year. I mean, we didn't get him for every game because he plays in varsity, but it was really fun to have him. Was Kiefer Anderson. All right, we rotated throughout the season to have kids represent us as our captains, but at the end of the year, we asked them to vote on who they wanted to be our captains, and we were going to pick the top 4. And it was still pretty close on a couple of these. But our 4 captains that the kids voted on this year were Dante Samuels, Vicente Martinez, Tyson Geiger, and Parker Reckup. And then finally, our MVP award, and he has some fantastic nights. I'll give the lineman some credit for opening up some holes too, but when there wasn't a hole, he kind of made one sometimes. Vicente Martinez. So to kind of wrap up the JV2 session here, I just want to say to the guys, thank you for a great season, and just a reminder that the end of this season is the start of your preparation for next season. I'll say this to my kids in class all the time. I ask them when they have to decide they want to pass the test. And I'll always say the day of. And I said, that's way too late. You got to decide now you want to pass the test. You guys have to decide now that you want to be good next year. Because by the time game time rolls around, it's too late. So get in the weight room. Get bigger. Get faster. Get stronger. Go play another sport. Go wrestle. Go play hoops. Run track. Play baseball. Whatever it is that you need to do. Go be an athlete somewhere else. Get shape, and then remember, be an example off the field, wherever you go in the classroom, because every one of you represents your teammates all the way up and down in your school and your community. You did a great job this year. So thanks, guys. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Coach Nelson.
I think we should have told them to have them line up on the actual stage. Because right now I'm having to move kids around to get them all in. Yeah, problem is that one doesn't want to turn on.
Guys, just as a reminder, when you come up, be careful of this railing, do not lean on it, anything like that. All the envelopes that we pass out, if you think that there's anything missing, if you're not quite sure, check with Ms. Cottrell in the main office tomorrow morning.
Double check
She'll be able to double check everything like that. Along with that, the footballs for the seniors, your senior banners, if you did not get that, let me know. You should have been able to get that from the main office. The footballs, you'll be able to grab that by the end of the night. Seniors, if you want to purchase your jerseys, your game-worn jerseys, I'll take those orders. We'll do that as one bulk order to hopefully get the cost of everything down. But it'll be around $55 each. That's what the price has been in the past. But once I get that quoted, I'll let you guys know how much that is. If you want to buy one jersey, if you want to buy all 3, I can do that. We'll get that out to our vendor, and then we'll make sure that we have everything ready to go for you. Up next, we're going to call up our sophomores and talk about how they did this season. Sophomore year is probably the most challenging year of high school. I think academically in school, the classes are probably the toughest. There's the most pressure of what am I going to do academically? You know, is this going to set me up for college, tech school, military, job, workforce? Where am I going to go? Because that picture of, well, it's just my freshman year, it's just that transition from middle school to high school, the pressure's starting to kind of get to the kids. They don't get to take all the elective classes that they may want. Plus, with athletics, it's not it's the freshman year. Now you're expected to be maybe just a scout team. You're expected to compete and contribute on special teams. And this group of sophomores was given a whole bunch of challenges this year. So, sophomores, I know some of you guys have already been up for already, but I would like to call up J.C. Acosta, Angel Marte, Grayson Edwards, Alex Garcia Hernandez, Cole Huber, Andrew Hoffman, Lincoln Benjestorf, Brody Rosenthal, and Cam Runnert.
The biggest thing that kind of stood out to me when I started looking at this group as a whole was just an unrelenting positivity for a team-first mentality. These guys were asked to sacrifice. They were asked to sacrifice as individuals. They were asked to sacrifice their selfishness right away from day one. Hey, guys, we can hear you, right? We asked some of these guys, hey, you're going to have to go play down on JV too. I think about at the beginning of the season, guys like Benji and Hoffman, hey, you know, you're not going to be carrying the ball this season. You guys are going to have to play line. Okay, coach, you got it. Literally, there was one day where Edwards was told, you're going to play line, you might play tight end, you might play a little bit of H. Sure, okay. No hesitation, didn't bat an eye. Team-first mentality for those guys. Cam Cronin
got a ton of playing time on Thursday nights, offensively and defensively, and then was a contributor on special teams on Fridays. Then it got to the guys who were playing on special teams on Friday nights and really contributing a lot throughout the season. Alex and JC were scouting players for us and stood out and were major contributors. And guys were earning defensive players of the week and starting roles by the end of the season in Angel and Cole. This group got a ton of experience this season, and it's exciting to see the amount of growth they took as sophomores. They sacrificed it in order to take those necessary steps forward. I'm excited to see what they're going to do now with the rest of their sophomore year. We need these guys to continue to be multi-sport athletes. We need these guys to continue to step up as leaders in this building. We need to see this growth going forward. I want to see guys like Brody step up and hold his teammates accountable. I want to see guys in the classroom start stepping up and saying, no, this is the right way to do things. And this is the expectation of being a football player. You can do that as a sophomore. You don't have to be afraid of stepping up and doing things the right way. It might rub some people the wrong way, but that's what being a leader is about. The experience you guys gained this season, playing against some of the best competition in the state, will pay off in the long run, but only if you cash in that potential. You've got 2 more years of football in front of you. But what are you going to do with the next 2 seasons of your sophomore year? Whether it's in the weight room, on the court, on the mat, on the field, or on the track, go cash it in. Work hard the rest of this sophomore year. Our 2025 sophomores. Up next, an incredibly valuable group of our football program.
An unsung group that do not get to put on pads, do not get to run out onto the field, do not get to have the fame and glory of blocking, tackling, scoring touchdowns, but are incredibly valuable and incredibly necessary to the success of a daily practice, a Friday night game, and helping out our team. Our managers. I'd like to call up Mackenzie Baldry, Lauren Matrish, Katie Schrader, Sophia Bach, and Stella Rattray. The hard work and sacrifice of time and energy that these girls put in just to help out our team is undeniable. They take time away from their work, their schoolwork,
their families, just to fill up water bottles, to set up cones, to pick up bags, to make sure that the practice setup is a little bit more convenient for the team. It is a selfless act that is undeniable and incredibly valuable. Their roles changed day to day, depending on who was mostly available. Some days they had to learn how to quickly film with a drone. Some days they had to quickly adjust to what the weather was going to throw at them. Some days they had to quickly adjust to me changing a practice plan, saying, nope, we're moving this over here, film that. These guys handled it with great patience, great teamwork, and it is incredible the amount of dedication that they showed. Girls, especially Mackenzie and Lauren, for the past 4 years of what you guys gave us to Ford football, I appreciate everything you guys did. If you guys ever need anything from us coaches or all of your brothers over here, don't be afraid to ask, because we definitely owe you guys a lot of hard work. Next up is our junior class. I'd like to have come up Lane Guerra, Maddox Ellenray, Brian Martinez, Elliot Worth, Grayson Esky, Dave Cook, Zach Rodman, Ellen Omri, Isaac Burnett, Brody Pempick, and good? Anthony Saunders-Staten, Eli Bastine, and Ali Evans. You good, buddy? I try to explain to kids as they're going from freshmen to sophomores to juniors, that playing on Thursday nights, things get a whole lot faster. Playing at 5 o'clock on Thursdays is like learning your alphabets, your ABCs. Playing at 7 o'clock on Thursday nights is then like writing a 5-paragraph essay. The jump is significant. Then going from 7 o'clock on Thursdays to 7 o'clock on Fridays is like reading Shakespeare. They're reading another language. Some of these juniors are having a fun time with that coming up, right, Miss Hampton? Okay. For these guys, due to numbers and things like that, that 7 o'clock Thursday step was not available to them. And explaining that to them last year was like, you guys are going to have to take that jump. You're going to have to jump onto the park while it's already moving. And at the beginning of the season, unfortunately, the injury bug seemed to hit this class a little bit harder than it did some of the others. We had to move guys around. We had to shuffle them into new spots. You guys had to learn on the fly. All right, boys, we're going to have to make do with what we got. Let's make the best of it. Attitudes, the competitiveness, and the sacrifice forced these guys to learn. Talent wasn't going to be enough. Teamwork was going to need to be what we needed in order to survive and make the best of the situation. This group of linemen began to figure it out at around week 4, 5, 6, playing against some of the bigger, faster, stronger, more explosive kids. If we start playing low, if we start protecting it, or if we start protecting
our ball carriers all the way through the play. Don't just watch our guys get tackled. We got to play with a little bit more nastiness. We got to play with that toughness in order to survive in the trenches. Our skill players started to believe that you can't just bounce everything outside. The pre-practice stuff of protecting the football, the discipline of running a route with 3 steps, cutting, and making sure that those little things that you can do outside of the drills within practice, they matter a ton in order to find that little bit more success out on the field on Fridays. That can make the difference. What we do Monday through Thursday sometimes isn't just enough to find success on Friday. And these guys started to believe in each other. Now, juniors, this is kind of the turning point at the banquet where all of a sudden their season is now about to end and your off season is about to start. An off season going into your senior year is an opportunity to define what your senior year is going to look like. What is it going to feel like and what is it going to be? You've learned from previous senior classes. How do they walk the halls? What kind of things do they let slide? I'll be starting my exit interviews with different kids in different classes and groups next week. So take the moment tonight and think, what kind of things would you want to be the standard and the expectations for your group? Not just your guys, those freshmen and those sophomores that you're going to need to help you push every single buddy in this program for the next 365 days. Talk to those guys right now, because if they could go one more year and push it one more time, I'm sure they would. Juniors, I'm excited to see how far we can go as soon as this hard work begins with the weight room at 6 in the morning coming up next week, because I'm excited to see just how good we can be. Ladies and gentlemen, the 25 juniors.
And our final big group, the senior class. Could I please get Sawyer Mears, James Schaefer, Owen Brand, Caleb Orwell, Alexis Martinez, Eugene Jardine, Ryan Selly, James Vernon, Anthony Kirkland, Earl Lewis, Jude Johnson, Jack Aaron, Geronda, Shane Clark, and Aiden Stone. Now, a year ago, I challenged these guys to take this group and make the group bigger. They not only doubled in size, but they invited kids to come along on a journey, knowing full well what this journey was going to feel like, what it was probably going to taste like, what the hard work was going to be, and what the hard work definitely was going to take. Kids that had never played football before said, yeah, sign me up. Kids that knew just how tough it was going to be each step of the way said, sounds fun, I want to be a part of it with you. I give a ton of credit to the kids that were here last year for welcoming those guys, leading those guys, and inspiring those guys. So I'm going to talk about this senior
Class in little groups. First set, Sawyer Beers, Alexis Martinez, Jack Garondel, and Eugene Jardine. All of these guys we had them this year, and it was inspiring to see these guys because they were all guys who decided to join this journey, and they all showed flashes of brilliance this season. Sawyer, by the end of the season, was an incredibly consistent quarterback for us. He absolutely could sling the ball. Unfortunately, the coach from McFarland was texting me saying, like, that quarterback of yours has a gun. That kid can sling it. And I'm like, yeah. Fortunately, he's only used 1 year of eligibility, so we need him to fail a couple classes, keep him around. But that's not how the NIL works in high school. We won't be seeing him again. But it was awesome to see him grow and mature as a high school quarterback in just one season. It's not something that you see, and a lot of similar things can be said about Alexis, just an athlete. Where when we saw him in those 2-minute drives at the beginning of the season, the way that he could just run around and avoid problems, and the way that he could kick the football, it was just incredible. As an athlete, it's something that it's God given. Jack stepping in one game where Jack, you're going in at center. That was the notice. No pressure. Right? And handled it like a champ. And from that point on, it was like, all right, Jack's going to stay at center. Wish we could have got 4 years out of that, because if we could have kept developing him and kept working with him, maybe we could have gotten maybe a little bit smoother puller out of Jack. But, you could tell that love for football was there. He was always asking questions. How could I get better? How could I improve? That workmanship for the craft was definitely there. And Eugene, kid who had never played football, really didn't understand it. And we were at the beginning of the season at Whitewater Camp. How much can we blow it onto Eugene's plate without overloading his circuits? What can he understand? We looked at him and we're like, should we try giving him the ball? I wouldn't want to run in front of him and try to tackle him. Pretty big guy. Eventually, we found him a home there at defensive end, where again he was understanding his craft and asking questions, constantly asking Coach Rogers and listening to the coaching. Yep, this is what I need to do. This is what I should try to do. He became one of our most consistent D linemen by the end of the season. Those 4 guys, I just think if we could have gotten more seasons out of them, more stuff. But instead of living with regrets about what we could have done, or wish we could have done, I'm excited to say to them, what are you going to do with the next 2 seasons that you could do as a Fort Atkinson Blackhawk? Do something this winter. Do something in the spring. Go out and compete and continue to believe in yourself. If you regret not playing football the last 3 years, don't regret not doing something in the winter and the spring, boys. The next two guys I want to talk about are Shane Clark and Aiden Stone. Two guys that were peripheral football players during their time in high school. Shane was with us as a junior, and Aiden gave it a shot during our summer camp. But they both really bought in this season. And the team embraced both of them. Now, while they're both learning, how do I play this? How do I do this? How do I do that? It was the love that I saw from the team that embraced these two guys. Shane, I've seen him come a long way in his 4 years of high school and his 2 years of football. And Shane, I'm just going to say this to you. You need to continue to believe in yourself and push yourself out of your comfort zone. Push yourself beyond your limits that you think you have. Do not hold yourself back. Keep going, big guy. And the same goes for everybody. Get out of your comfort zones. Do not put limitations on yourself. And if you continue to push yourself out of that spot where you think, that's good enough for me, you will be surprised with how successful you're going to be in life. A great example of that is that guy down there. The next two guys, you wouldn't know by looking at them, but they're quite similar. Kurt Lewis and Tony Kirkland. But their stories are quite similar in the fact that when they came in as freshmen, Coach Hintz was up here on stage talking to the freshmen, and he said, sometimes high school guys, it's like microwaving a bag of popcorn. You don't know when some of these kernels are going to pop. Some of the guys, they come into high school, they're physically mature. They're ready to go, and they're going to just dominate in athletics. But they're done. Some of you guys, you just need a little bit more time. I don't know if there's a better analogy for two guys that showed a ton of love, commitment, loyalty to their friends, their teammates, to the game of football than Tony and Kurt. You saw it this season. Kurt earning the Scout Team Player of the Week with the scrimmage at the very start of the season. Tony winning Scout Team Player of the Week near the end of the season with Sun Prairie West. Both of those guys dominating, pushing, forcing their teammates to get better during the week, Monday through Thursday. Not because they wanted to just get highlight reel plays in practice, but because they wanted to see their teammates get better. And that's the beauty of football. Tony and Kurt showed it every single day. The football team needs everybody. Everybody has a role. Everyone can participate. And if you truly find happiness in life, find purpose in your spot, you can find success. And for Tony and Kurt, that's what's beautiful about our team this season, and that's what's beautiful about finding that purpose in life. Both of those guys busted their tails all off season. They came in physically stronger, faster, more competitive than they had their entire lives. And when it came time to actually go out and play, there wasn't any hesitation trusting them to go do their jobs. Both of them were contributors. They did their best, and they found happiness putting the pads on. I'm so proud of the success and the progression that you two did in the 4 years that I got to have you guys call me coach. The next two guys, Cohen Brandt and James Schaefer. Going into this season, we looked at these two guys, well, even as when they came in as freshmen, you could tell that their peers looked at them, yep, those two are leaders. And unfortunately, one started this season with an injury and the other ended this season with an injury. Cohen was dealt with some difficult cards, but he made the absolute best out of the cards he was dealt. He walked into practice every single day with a positive attitude. He found a purpose. How can I help the team today? Whether it was helping the managers, helping the coaches, helping his teammates, bringing a little bit of levity. Hey, it was the trade deadline today, Cohen. Packers didn't make any trades. No. But every day, coming in with a purpose, coming in with a role, he earned the respect of his teammates. He absolutely found his role. And by the end of the season, his teammates voted him a captain. That's, again, football has a role for everybody. Meanwhile, James, his effort, his hard work on the field set a tone. This is the expectation, guys. We had to move James around to a bunch of different spots, playing inside, playing outside, offensively, defensively, special teams. James put it all out there, and he left it all out there. Guys, your seasons are not defined by an injury, nor are they defined by how many touchdowns you score, yards you have, tackles you have. They're not defined. They're defined by the character you show, the sportsmanship you display, and the way you approach the game. I think back to some of the teams and opponents that we played that had very little class, and that the way that I think about that JV2 game with the MG crowd. You guys played with class. You guys approached the game the right way. Your teammates respected you. Your opponents respected you of the way you did the game. That's going to carry you in life a whole lot further than, hey, how many yards did you run for your senior year? So remember that when you approach new challenges and new obstacles in life. The next two guys I want to talk about are Jude Johnson and James Vernon. Both of these guys were coming into their senior season kind of as bit unknowns. Jude was coming off of a pretty devastating ankle injury his junior year. And James, we didn't get to see him too much in football last year. But both of them were working their tails off in the weight room and in the spring to try to prepare. So we knew, we were like, okay, we're kind of optimistic with these guys. So then you think back, okay, sophomore, freshman season. All right. You think back to Jude. He had the long Leonard Skinnerd hair. You know, he was looking good. It was impressive. But at the same time, Jude also, if he had to pull right, there's a 50-50 chance he might go left. Jude not only overcame an injury that may have deterred a lot of kids from coming back to playing football, like, that was too painful, that wasn't fun. Jude was by far our most consistent lineman. Jude played all 5 spots. He played from the left side to the right side, every single position. Jude was a leader on the offensive line. And that hard work translates to the classroom. Jude has made himself into a model student. He's disciplined, he's organized, and he's worked his tail off to put himself in the position where after June, whatever graduation date it is this year, last year was like June 40th, so hopefully it's earlier this year. As soon as that day comes, Jude, wherever field he goes, whatever walk of life he chooses, Jude will find success. James is a similar boat. James played every skill position, including quarterback on senior night. He started catching the snap. James was trusted. All right, James, we're going to line you up here. We're going to line you up there. We're going to line you up there. Okay, coach, you got it. Despite broken fingers, despite pulled hamstrings, despite different obstacles throughout the year, James was in different places because his teammates trusted him to be there. Consistency, guys, not just highlights, will help you find success later on in life. I have a ton of respect for the boys that you guys started high school as and the men that you have turned out to be. The final 2 seniors, Brant Selly and Caleb Horwath. Starting last offseason, I looked to these two as kind of the leaders that I would kind of pick and choose to get a feel for the vibe. How are the guys feeling? Mostly because I knew that they would be honest with me. Brant would tell me, hey, coach, thinking about this, thinking about that. Caleb, maybe a little bit more blunt. But I knew I could trust them both. They were both multi-sport athletes. They were kids that kind of had a good feel on their teammates. They had a good perspective on their teammates as well. Both had playing experience, so when it came to me becoming a defensive backs coach, I could trust them. Like, hey, does this make sense? No. Okay, let's try it again.
I relied on them early on in the offseason to make sure that they were communicating with their teammates and with me. And they both stepped up on offense, defense, and special teams. I know I don't have to stress it to you two, but I'm excited, but also a little sad to watch your final 2 seasons in the spring and winter as Fort Atkinson Blackhawks. If you boys need anything from me, letter of recommendation, anything else, please let me know. The same goes for all of you guys. Thank you guys for all the time, energy, and effort you guys gave us as sport and football players. Thank you.
Thanks, boys.
All right. We did not pass out any of the varsity F-Club awards, so if you earned a letter this season, you need to get one of these flyers.
We will pass those out later because we're not just going to call this up like a roll call, like you're getting called down to the attendance office. So we'll do that later. At this time, we would like to
Recognize our all-conference awards. We played a very competitive schedule this season. Both of our non-conference games, those opponents made the playoffs. And within the Badger Large, only DeForest and Sunbury West did not make the playoffs. So, that being said, I felt that our boys were very competitive, showing no quit, a ton of resolve, and putting up stats that showed a lot of recognition in this incredible conference. So, it is with a lot of pride that we recognize first is an honorable mention offensive lineman, junior Oliver Evans. Next, as a probably our best offensive weapon, an honorable mention wide receiver, James Shaker. And as a 2-time honorable mention, defensive back, Brant
Selly. Our season awards included our captains, which were recognized in our final 2 games.
against Monona Grove and Stoughton. Our captains this season were wide receiver, defensive back, Brant Selly, running back, linebacker, Coleman Brant, offense and defensive lineman, Jude Johnson, and offense and defensive lineman, Ollie Evans. awards were voted on by their teammates, including our final postseason awards. First one was our Coach's Blackhawk Spirit Awards. We recognize this one as, or preface this one to our guys as, this is the one that, when you think of a Ford football player, when you think of a Fort Atkinson student athlete, who comes to mind? Whatever that means to you. This is what a Blackhawk does, on and off the field, in the classroom, in the weight room, multi-sport, all the things that you guys hear. So who do you think? And fortunately, we had about 11 guys receive votes. It was a close vote. So it was good to see that the kids saw this not just in one guy, they saw it in a bunch of their teams. This year, the 2025 Blackhawk Spirit Award is Brant Sell. The next one, or our next award, is Most Improved. This one we said, take this however you guys want. You want to say it's Most Improved from first practice to the last practice? Do you want to take it from Whitewater Camp all the way through? Or do you want to take it from freshman year till now? Take it how you want. Because this is, you feel is the most improved.
Oh, that's for sure.
And we had, again, a lot of guys receive votes for this. This one we felt the vote was much closer. And I think that this one is a little bit more difficult to kind of pin down because how do you define improvement? Especially with how many first-year players we had. But I think that there's no argument against the guy who actually ended up winning this. To join a sport that you have no idea, how does this thing even work? Okay, try this position. Okay, try that position. And try it with no hesitation. It's remarkable that he was able to commit, consistently show up, and continue to work hard. Very proud to say that our most improved player for the 2025 season is Eugene Gardner. And finally, the MVP, most valuable player. Again, how do you describe value to a team where everyone's role is important, yet everyone's role isn't the same? I think when you look back at the 2025 season and you just watch the film, it's kind of obvious to see which kid kind of stood out on some Friday nights. Despite his season ending a little bit shorter than what he was hoping, his highlights were there, and his remarkable step from freshman year to the end was remarkable. His hard work and dedication to improve week to week was something of note. Very proud to say that the 2025 most valuable player is James Shade.
Well said, Sawyer. And thus concludes the fall sports season for football. So now, I'm going to encourage every one of you young men to go play multiple sports. Basketball season, wrestling, hockey, right, Brant? Coming up right around the corner. But why? Because we just need guys to play more than one sport? No. While our enrollment has kind of gone down the last few years, the student athletes, the numbers have stayed fairly steady. That means that we're asking more out of our student leaders. I'm going to ask more out of the football players. Set the example that you guys want. Set the example that we need in our building. What kind of leaders do you guys want here at the high school? Because you guys have that kind of voice and you have that kind of power. We need better hand-eye coordination, so playing other sports will help that. We need better teamwork. Playing other sports will help that. We need better competitiveness. Playing other sports will help that. You need to lift. Doing that in and out of season does not matter. But lifting with your teammates will push you to get stronger a whole lot better than lifting in your basement or lifting at any time. Because when you're held accountable by your teammates, you know that you're going to push harder. So keep each other accountable. As I mentioned earlier, exit interviews. I will pull you guys in small groups. I will pull the seniors in one-on-one. I do not want to have these interviews with a time limit. I want us to have a nice conversation the same way that I've had in years past. So let's make sure that we talk to each other and we have these times kind of built in. The Badger Small is no joke. It's still a Badger. So if we fail to prepare, we will prepare to fail. We need to make sure that we're getting ready. And we need to get ready in November. This cannot be, all right, it's June, let's start working. That's not what they're going to be doing, because Mount Horeb is still playing. And we got to make sure that we're getting ready. Juniors, you have new expectations, so set it from the leadership. If you want to be a leader, step up. And that might mean that if you're a sophomore, if you want to take the reins, go ahead. Freshmen, if you feel like your voice needs to be heard, go ahead and start barking.
Where are my dogs at? Seniors, you guys might not be putting the pads on anymore, but you are still leaders within our building. You will be leaders in life as well. So don't forget the things that we've taught you along this way. In about 7 months, you guys are going to be young men walking away from this building for the final time. So be leaders in life. Be leaders as doctors. Be leaders as electricians. Be leaders as whatever field you guys decide to do. Be leaders as husbands. Be leaders as fathers. Because that's what matters in life. You guys need to treat each other with respect. You need to treat yourself with the same kind of respect. Set your goals high and push yourself. Persevere through adversity. And when you have a strong team with you, you'll be surprised how far you can go. You guys have heard me say this 1,000 times. If you want to go somewhere quick, go by yourself. If you want to go somewhere far, you better have a team. So make sure you got a great group of friends. Make sure you got a strong support system. And set your goals high. Believe in yourself. Believe in each other. And don't forget to tell each other that. Thank you guys for everything that you've done this season. Parents, thank you guys for everything that you have done as well. We will be passing out these F Club certificates out in the Commons afterwards. Make sure that you guys grab your own. Thank you all again. God bless Port Atkinson football.
How do we turn the photos? Alright, and the live stream. And